Now that we've popped the hood, we're going to get this off of here. Pull it up and slide it right out of the way. The next thing we want to do before we disconnect anything electrical is disconnect the negative battery terminal. Make sure you move it so it's very clear from the battery and there's no way it can make another connection. Now we're just going to grab onto this, pull it right straight out of there and set it aside. The next thing we're going to have to do is take off our air intake here. You're going to see an 8mm right there, or you can use a flathead. We're going to loosen this up so that the clamp will come loose and we can take the hose off of this. That's loose enough. You don't need to completely disassemble it. We're just going to try to work it off of there. Now if you follow this up, you're going to find the area where this connects onto the throttle body. Loosen this clamp as well. Nice and loose. I'm going to carefully try to draw this away from there. Okay. Lift up on this area right here. Pull that away nice and easy. If you were to look under here, you're going to see what's holding us up now. Right along there. I'm just going to use a little forky tool and pull out that push clip. Right under here. Okay. Pull this off of there. Remove this. The next thing we're going to do is use a nice small pocket screwdriver. This little gray clip right here is a lock. So I'm going to come right down from the top, put it in, twist, that pulls away. And then right in between the two gray areas, there's a little push area. Push this down and draw this off. Take a peek, make sure you don't see any funny colors. The next thing we're going to do is use a 10mm. We'll remove the two top nuts and the two lower bolts. Carefully grab onto this, give it a nice wiggle, and draw it away. Now that we have that off, we're going to get this gasket out of here. Be careful for the plastic. You don't want to chisel it up or cause any damage. There's the gasket. You're going to want to replace this. Before we go ahead and put in our new gasket, make sure you wipe down the area where the mating surface is going to be. You don't want any dirt or debris in there. That looks great. Take your new gasket. We're going to carefully put it inside the groove all the way around. Once you've compared your new throttle body to your old one and you're sure you've got the same corresponding part, we're going to continue with the install. I'm just going to take this and slide it right on there nice and easy. Everything should line up perfectly. Go ahead and start in the nuts and then of course start in those bolts. Once everything's started, we'll go ahead and snug them up and we'll torque them to manufacturer's specifications. Now that they're all started, we're just going to carefully bottom them out. We don't need very much pressure here because the torque spec form is only 89 inch-pounds. All right, let's torque them to 89 inch-pounds. Torqued. Let's go ahead and plug this in. Listen for a click, give it a tug, lock it in. Let's get this back in. I'm going to come in through the top like this. I'm going to line up this piton, put that right there, okay? Carefully slide this in. Okay. It's close. Bring that back up. Try again. This grommet just moves around. Should slide right in. Okay. feels good. Make sure your intake hose is completely up against the throttle body and as far as it can go. If it's hanging off diagonal or crooked, you're not going to get a good seal, and there's possibility that you could suck dirty air into your intake system. Okay, we're sure that this is nice and tight. Let's go ahead and snug up the clamp. Okay, just a little bit of pressure there. Perfect. Do the same to the other clamp. It's completely on, seated perfectly. Tighten up the clamp. Let's go ahead and get this back in there. Give it a wiggle. Make sure it cannot fall down. If it can, you need to make sure you secure this so it can't wobble around. We'll come right over here. Go ahead and press that in. Listen for the click. Give it a nice easy tug. Make sure it does not fall out. Let's get this cover back on here. That's just going to slide in over the top of the engine, all the way back as far as it can go. And then we've got our little piton under here. It's going to line up with that dongle there. And then another one here and there. Bring this down carefully. Loving bonk, make sure it's secured. The next thing we're going to do is reconnect our negative battery terminal. Slide that all the way down onto the battery. Make sure you're making a good connection and then tighten it up. Okay, a little bit of pressure there. That feels good. I'm going to grab that cord. Make sure that the battery terminals are nice and secure. I'm even going to check this positive. That's beautiful. So now that we've completed the installation procedure for the throttle body, we're going to continue on by doing the relearn procedure. And you can do that two ways. You can do it the physical way right now that we're going to do, or you can do it with a scanner. But the scan tool is going to cost you a couple bucks. This way is free. Here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to start up the vehicle. We're going to let it idle for 3 minutes. Once it's idled for 3 minutes, we're going to turn it off for 1 minute. Let it sit for a little while, and then we're going to restart it for another 3 minutes and watch that idle. What you're going to notice is the idle is going to go. If you were to look at your tachometer here, this is what's going to tell you how fast the engine's spinning inside, the revolutions per minute, okay? I'll turn this on so you can see. There we are. So this is your tachometer here. What we're going to do is we're going to start it up. You're going to see it jump right up, and then it's going to come down, and it should be sitting just below that 1. That's 1,000 RPMs, or revolutions per minute. We need it to come down 2 lines below to approximately 8 to 700. So now we'll run the vehicle for 3 minutes, and we're going to let this come idling down. Okay, so that idle just came down. It's sitting at approximately 6 to 700 there. We're going to turn off the vehicle, let it sit for 1 minute, and then we're going to run it again for another 3. Okay, so that minute's up. Let's go ahead and start it back up, run it for another 3. Watch that tachometer right here, and make sure that your idle drops down. Other things that you want to pay attention to is to look to make sure you're not getting a check engine light. If you have a check engine light, turn off your vehicle and check those codes to make sure there's nothing going on that shouldn't be. So now that this has been running for another 3 minutes, we're going to go ahead and turn it off and let it sit for a little while. While it's sitting, I'm just going to go out and double check to make sure everything's nice and tight the way that it should be. We'll close the hood, and then we're going to gear up for a nice road test. So now that we know that the throttle body's working perfectly and we have no check engine light, the next thing that we're going to want to do, you're going to take it for a nice road test and try to keep it going at a nice steady pace, approximately 44 miles per hour.